Today we're taking a look at these NBA matches, which are happening on Wednesday, November 17, 2021, and giving you match breakdowns, betting tips and predictions in general on these games. Welcome back to High Stakes, let's get straight into it. Also, don't forget to subscribe to get notified as soon as we release these sport prediction videos, and if you would like more betting tips and predictions, then check out our Patreon in the link down below. Our new Patreon is a way for us to help you improve your chances of making more money. 5 plans are available for each and every one of you. You can get 30 extra betting picks all the way up to 270 extra betting picks per month. Stop wasting hours of your time searching for bad betting advice that ends up costing you a lot of money. Join the High Stakes Patreon now and get the best betting picks and advice. Cleveland Cavaliers vs Brooklyn Nets. Cavs in their last game, a loss to Boston at home, 92-98, Rubio was thrust into the starting role and performed well again, but along with Darius Garland, they combined to shoot just 15-35. Poor shooting was the story in this low-scoring game, which favored the more offensively efficient Celtics. Our first betting advice is to pick Brooklyn Nets, -9.5, after a competitive first half. The Warriors blew the doors off the Barclays Center in a game where they shot a ridiculous 51.9% from the floor. James Harden led the Nets on a rare night where Kevin Durant couldn't find his shot. The Warriors are the best defensive team in basketball right now, but the Cavs are clearly playing with a top 10 defensive effort as well. They have the second best scoring defense, with teams averaging 101.1 points per game against them. If we learned anything from Tuesday's loss to the Warriors, it's how prolific Harden and Durant will have to consistently be to knock off great defensive teams. Everyone else outside of Bruce Brown finished with a single-digit scoring figure. It hasn't helped matters that Nick Claxton is out. Joe Harris and Paul Millsap are both listed as questionable to play. Yes, Durant and Harden are great, but the complementary pieces have to work as well. The Cavs might be playing elite defense, but they're struggling offensively. There won't be a Steph Curry on the floor to give the Nets fits in this game. Our second betting advice is to pick over 206.5. Los Angeles Lakers vs Milwaukee Bucks. James is expected to be back at some point this week after missing 2 weeks with an abdominal strain. The Lakers have struggled without him and are just 8-7 for the season despite being one of the most revamped teams in the league. They've lost to the Oklahoma City Thunder twice and were barely able to beat the Houston Rockets. Their defense has been far from what it was, and their offense has yet to be in sync. Our first betting advice is to pick Milwaukee Bucks -8. Coming off of their first World Championship in 50 years, the Bucks are off to a rough start. Currently, 11th in the Eastern Conference, Milwaukee would miss the playoffs if the season ended today, but fortunately, there are still 68 games left to play. Milwaukee's latest loss came on Sunday 120-100 as a 2.5-point dog to Atlanta. Giannis Antetokounmpo the Bucks with 26 points, followed by Drew Holiday with 19 points and Grayson Allen with 18 points. Our second betting advice is to pick under. Quick reminder, BetUS is a platform that offers betting on all major sport and horse racing leagues. It has slots, table games, blackjack, and a variety of other casino games. All of the major US leagues are available for betting, including the NFL, NBA, NHL, MLB, and PGA. In addition, BetUS allows wagers on esports, Olympic events, soccer, cricket, boxing, cycling, and many more competitions. Join BetUS now using our link down below and get 125% cashback bonus on your first deposit on the sportsbook after you open an account and deposit using our link and use our promo code HIGHSTAKES. Boston Celtics vs Atlanta Hawks. In their last game, Boston took down the Cleveland Cavaliers on the road, winning 98-92. After a tightly contested first half, the Celtics scored 33 points in the fourth quarter to pull away at the end. Boston held a significant overall field goal percentage, but allowed Cleveland to hang around thanks to their ability to connect on 40% of their three-point shots. Playing without Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum stepped up for 23 points and 8 rebounds. Veteran forward Al Horford added 17 in his 32 minutes of action. Our first betting advice is to pick Atlanta Hawks -4.5. The Hawks have the highest defensive efficiency rating in the league when playing at home. They're dominating on the boards and completely burying opponents with their long-ranged shooting. This is a team playing without DeAndre Hunter and maybe even Kevin Huerter. Boston is a tough defensive team that's not going to just stand around and allow the Hawks to consistently get good looks at the basket. They have active guard play on the floor with Al Horford contributing a significant boost to their front court. It's like the clock has turned back for the veteran center, who seems to be at his best in Boston. Trae Young and company are going to have to pile on the points in an effort to protect their own soft defense. They're still sitting near the bottom of the heap as the third worst defensive team in the league. Our second betting advice is to pick under 214. Houston Rockets vs Oklahoma City Thunder. Silas is preaching patience with his young team. The Rockets have hit a cold patch, unable to find the bottom of the basket in this recent stretch. Last night, in the third quarter, Houston allowed a 20-0 Memphis spurt that sealed the game. For the night, the Rockets shot a miserable 38% from the field, but Silas continues to hold off on making any significant lineup changes. After gamely battling for the better part of the early season, the Houston Rockets find themselves in a free fall, culminated in their 34-point home loss to the Grizzlies on Monday night. The Rockets have dropped 12 straight games as their extremely young team tries to regain their footing. Early on, the Rockets fought gamely this season and were a respectable 4-4-1 against the spread. In their last 4 games prior to this one, however, the Rockets lost by an average of 14.4 points per game. Last night, the wheels completely fell off in their 34-point drubbing. Rookie Jalen Green led the Rockets with 15 points, while Jason Tate added 14 points and 9 rebounds. Rockets head coach Stephen Silas knows his team has to find answers. Our first betting advice is to pick Oklahoma City Thunder minus 3.5. Oklahoma City is averaging 98.6 points per game. They scored 90 points in their last game, making 41% of their field goals and 36.6% of their three-pointers. Luguentz Dort led the way for the Thunder with 20 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 assists. Jeremiah Robinson-Earl finished with 16 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 assists, while Shai Gilgeous-Alexander had 10 points, 3 rebounds, and 5 assists. Oklahoma City has done a better job defensively, giving up 107.2 points per game. They gave up 103 points in their last game and will need a similar effort if they want to get the win. Houston is averaging 101.8 points per game. They scored 102 points in their last game, making 37.9% of their field goals and 28.9% of their three-pointers. Jalen Green led the way for Houston with 15 points and 2 rebounds. Jason Tate finished with points and 9 rebounds, while Christian Wood added 10 points, 3 rebounds, and 4 assists for the Rockets. Houston has struggled defensively, giving up 112.8 points per game. They gave up 136 points in their last game and will need a significantly better effort if they want to win this game. Lu Dort scored 20 points and rookie Jeremiah Robinson-Earl added 16 for the Thunder, who looked strong in the first half in holding the high-scoring Heat to just 43 points and entering the locker room tied at 43. The Thunder fell behind by as many as 14 in the third quarter and were never able to close the gap, particularly on a night when their best player, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who entered the night averaging 22.6 points per game, was in a shooting funk. Gilgeous-Alexander finished with a season-low 10 points on 2 of 11 shooting. The Heat maintained their lead in the fourth quarter thanks to their physical, aggressive style of play. Our second betting advice is to pick under